listen, like these folks are strategic. They plan, they map out, they do it. He was a Republican. Let's start from the beginning. He was a Republican who changed to a Democrat and had Republican parties to change people to Democrats so he can win. That is not illegal, but it's smart.
Yeah.
Can't deny that.
Yeah.
So he does not focus on things that don't matter to him for the bigger picture. I don't know what the bigger picture is. We can only assume. And the same day he makes an announcement, he also says there's no residency. Then in that same day, John Carney, our governor, announces that he's interested in running for mayor, which we know that he is now because he filed a committee to raise money.
Good evening. This is Dr. Curry.
Shané Darby.
And welcome to The Source. Well, Shané, we're in that season of Thanksgiving. Before we even talk about the news and things that are going on in and around the city of Wilmington, I wanted to start off by just, saying a word or two about Thanksgiving. And I know that you're not really big on the holidays type things. You're very traditionalist. But tell me, what are you planning to do over the next couple of days as we prepare ourselves for the Thanksgiving season?
Yeah, of course. So families want to get together. Yeah. So that's normal for my family. We get together all the time.
Okay, so y'all have a gratitude of Thanksgiving all the time.
Yeah, we have gratitude of Thanksgiving all the time. We get together throughout the year, so I will be getting together again. And then me and my friend, we're going to Orlando for like 4 or 5 days. So I'll be going on a vacation, just to reset. So that's what I'll be doing, I guess, for Thanksgiving.
Okay, well, I like that. You're gonna get some rest and relaxation.
I'm deleting my social media apps. I'm deleting my email apps.
You have to delete it. Just turn them off.
I don't have that much self-control.
Oh, okay.
I like watching Instagram reels.
Okay.
People are funny.
Oh yes, yes. Oh yeah. It's really interesting because I don't even pay attention to my Facebook and things.
Me either. I'm watching the videos.
A lot of the team does it for me. But I got on one day because somebody asked me a question. Did I see something? So I went on to see it, and then a reel came on, and I'm sitting there saying, "Oh my God!" And I found myself. It was 40 minutes later. I'm still looking at them.
Yeah,
I'm like,
scrolling.
This is crazy.
No,
this is crazy. And it's like the most bite time you can have is when you look at those reels. So I got you. I feel you.
I need to disconnect.
Yeah. So you're gonna get some. So who usually do the cooking in the house? I know. Can you cook?
I can cook. I don't like cooking.
You don't like cooking?
No, I cook because I have to.
Oh, because you have children.
Yeah, because I have children. I wouldn't. And if I had money, I would hire a chef.
Oh, wow. Oh, so
I like cleaning.
You're okay. That's good. I was going to say you're a liberal in certain areas, but when you said you like cleaning, then that solidifies the fact that you just don't care too much for the cooking. Now, who's the best cook, your mom or your grandmother?
I would actually argue with my stepdad.
Whoa, I love it. I love it.
I love his food.
Okay.
Like, I won't eat anybody else's
Where is
cabbage.
he from?
He's from Jamaica.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I won't eat anybody else's cabbage.
Okay.
It's like, I'm not doing that. Like, he makes the best cabbage, the best food. My mom my grandma make really good food too. But I'm really a picky eater, so all I really want is turkey and stuffing and rice. It's like my
What about yams?
I'm not big on all that.
Really?
I'm a picky eater.
Yeah, well, that's why you were able to keep your physique, because you don't be like me. I explore everything.
Yeah, they got everything, and it's a mixture with my family, a mixture of American and Jamaican food. Right. So it'll be like jerk chicken, curry chicken, and then the regular Black American chicken. So all of that. So it'll be a mixture of everything.
What is Black American chicken? I was gonna let it go, but it hit me. Yeah. What is that?
So Caribbeans fry chicken differently than African Americans.
Oh,
it's a very different frying.
Okay.
Like in regards to how it's cooked in the process.
Okay. Okay.
So it's very different.
Wow.
Yeah, some differences.
Wow.
But
I might have to see if you can sneak me something to see. That's really good. I thought you were just saying it just to say it, but that's really our process. We are planning to have. We're usually in New York during Thanksgiving. We usually will go to New York, and that's when Ashley and Rosa can get a chance to spend a little bit of money I have. We go to New York every year. This is going to be the second year.
You have family in New York?
No, we stay on what's that main street where the parade is? We stay there at one of the hotels, and we've been going since Ashley was born. We did it every year as a tradition of our family. I was not raised in a traditional family. I was raised with just my mother, and I started once Ashley was born. We started some traditions.
Yeah, that's important.
So that we can continue to move forward. And we go to New York every year. Last year was the first year we didn't go because of COVID. Still trying to figure it out. No, I'm sorry, not 2020.
Okay, yeah.
And 21 we didn't go. So we decided we just going to kind of let that go, and we invited up my wife's mother and brother to come and be to our home. But my wife and I are really good cooks. So and we always out trying to compete who's the best. And my daughter, she's a great politician.
Because whose cooking does she like?
She's a great politician.
Oh, okay.
Privately, his daddy. Privately, his mommy.
Right.
So one day we caught her and we asked her, whose food do you like the best? And she said, I'm not sure right now. So,
right.
She's
That's a good answer.
She's a very good politician. But we're going to look forward to, and we have a very good time. And I want to do one of the shows with my wife and I, so that we can enjoy each other as well as Thanksgiving. But I'm big on not so much the commercialization of Thanksgiving, but this is a time for us to really give thanks and
I agree. I think this is a very reflective time of the year anyway, without the holidays, as we enter into like a new year, kind of thinking of like, what haven't I completed yet? Can I complete it? What do I need to think about for 2024? So it's a very reflective year. Yeah. And I also think with the season change, the days are shorter. Right. It kind of forces you to do those things anyway, because a lot of people are dealing with depression, anxiety, mental health right now. This is the time. So like check in on this is the time to like, as things are slowing down, check in on your family members, check in with yourself. Right. It's key and important. Like it's real. Like seasonal depression period, mental health is high during the suicide rates are high during this time of year. Because I think it's the expectation that is put on people. Like for me, like I think Christmas is a wonderful day to celebrate, right? But I personally don't, right? And I don't want to be feel pressure that for one day I feel like I have to provide for my 3 kids. And I remember I used to do that. Like I would go work overnight at a factory across in New Jersey to get some extra money so I can buy my daughter this toy. And then Kmart used to have layaway. I used to go put all my stuff on layaway to give it. So like I used to go do all of that. For one day, that's just me. And like my kids get all year long, and I'm not going to force myself because of a commercial or expectations people put on you for the holidays, and that expectations of having family, friends, being in a relationship. Like this time is like relationship time, right?
Really? I thought that was in February.
No, it starts now. Couples are doing their thing. If you didn't get your person yet, you
is that why you went away?
right. So those are like the things. That people are like thinking of right now. It's like that pressure. Who you gonna bring to dinner? Those things. Like,
but you're so correct, and I'm very glad you said that. And in fact, that's going to help somebody. People are used to us coming on the show immediately talking about all the violence and things of that nature that happen in and around the city. But you just help some person who really are allowing the expectations of society for one day go in debt. For one day, make sure that you have the best turkey around. When it really is, as we look at it, especially in the African-American community, it's not even about any of that. It's not about and all that. It's really about family getting together, reflecting, being grateful to God that we've been spared another year and things of that nature. So I think that you really help someone today just by even sharing that you're not going to go in debt. You're not going to be stressed out.
And then these kids, they play with a toy for 2 seconds. My kids listen, I'm going to go dust those toys off. Merry Christmas. Oh, man, put some new batteries in it. Yeah. They are right. They are okay.
Yes, I agree with you 100%. Well, I'm glad that you're going to have a very good Thanksgiving, and I hope that you really enjoy yourself and get some rest, and so that you can come back and deal with the city council who was waiting to to be a part of your life as soon as you come off that plane or to get back into town.
Yeah.
This week, we're going to start off by talking about one shooting that occurred last Saturday in the city of Wilmington. I was really mesmerized by this one because it was an 18-year-old girl, a female, and she was the 1400 block of Lancaster Avenue. Isn't that in what newer district that probably is?
I think that's the 6th district.
Oh, okay.
I think that's Councilmember McCoy's district. Lancaster Avenue is hers.
Yeah.
I think the whole thing is hers. So I think that is her district over there.
Wow. So how are people getting shot at 9 o'clock in the morning? I mean,
they out here shooting. I was literally sitting. My grandma lives off the 27th and Crescent. I'm literally sitting in the car waiting for my daughter to come out, and I hear gunshots. I see the boys literally on the next block. I'm watching it happen, run into the alleyway, and then come back out. Right?
Wow.
Like I witnessed it at we were there probably 4 o'clock.
Wow.
Like 4 o'clock at my grandma's house. They were shooting in North Wilmington. That's my district. They were shooting like young boys, like little kids. Like they look like no bigger than middle school.
Wow.
Running. They kept running back and forth.
What do you think the real issue is here? Because it's like, thank the Lord that we don't have a lot of murders, but we got a lot of shooting going on. I know the guns, they are appearing for purposes. People are but what do you think is going on?
Well, just historical stuff, today's stuff. I think it's what we get today. You have a failed education system. Mm-hmm. You have homes that are broken in whatever way that might be. We have all of these social determinants of health, as they call it, housing, all of these things that impact communities. And then if you don't invest in communities, what do you expect?
I guess that is so true. I think one of the things that, and I don't know the answer to this because I didn't do the research before we went on the show today, but when they did that law where they stopped holding parents accountable for children to go to school after, I think they were 14 or 16, it created a major problem for our community because then it's like it doesn't matter. They don't have to go to school. They can just hang out all day and we're seeing the results of that.
Right, and I also can understand that too, why they lifted it, because you can grow up in the same household, right? And I talk about my household. My mom was very strict. We went to Catholic school. We were regular working family household. Me and my sister were 2 different people at high school. 2 different people, right? At school, I was considered the good Darby and she was the bad Darby. So I was one of the people, the teachers would be like, send this to the office. So I would go to the office and talk to all the staff and everything. Like, you know what your sister did today? Oh, wow. And I'm like, oh, okay. And they was like, you grew up in the same household? Yeah, same mom and dad. Yeah. Yep. So sometimes I think after even 14, 15, it's hard to control some kids.
Right.
You just have your own mind of your own. And I think of myself outside of school, I didn't listen to my mom at 14, 15. I think about the things I put my mom through. So it's my mom really couldn't control me. So her being responsible and parents being responsible for that, it's kind of hard to make them responsible for that when you have a 14, 15-year-old who doesn't care.
But even if they don't care, then there has to be I guess there's a systematic issue too, because what do you do with a child who's just being rebellious?
Yeah, what do you do?
Okay, I often find that as a pastor, I find trying to get some of these grandparents and parents help with their children, there's no services that are available unless they get into the system. Yep. And then the only service they really provide is jail.
Yeah, jail or putting them in foster care, and that's not any better.
Oh no, that's absolutely. I just feel bad, but just to report for this week, we did have one shooting last Saturday on the 1400 block of Lancaster Avenue, and it was in the morning. That bothered me. What's going on with City Council? I know that we talked about the ethics report. Any updates on the ethics report?
No updates yet. So I'm waiting for the ethics committee to finish their investigation. So once they're finished, they'll let us know. I know that a lot of it this time, where Councilmember Oliver was connected to our discretionary funds. So council people, we get $10,000 a year to be able to disperse out funds, right? And we know that Councilmember Oliver, for one of them, was able from staff to get a check in her hand and then deposit it into her account. Whatever way that story may be, but it happened, right? It was in her account.
Oh, wow.
And for me, the question is, how are we even allowed to get physical checks in our hand?
Wow.
Right? So like,
so somebody else may need to be investigated too.
Yeah, so I don't know, but I know that in the email I said, going forward, no city council people, there should be no exception.
Absolutely.
Like there should be no reason why I should get a check from my staff to then be like, oh yeah, go give it to them. Like, no. We can't do that. That is
Was the
dumb.
check written out to her or was it written out to some other organization?
It was written out to the other organization.
So how did it get in her account?
So then that's the bank. That's a question. How did the bank allow that to happen? Right? And I thought about that too. Like, how did the bank even allow that to happen? Sometimes tellers don't pay attention. Or I know for me, I go to my bank a lot for my nonprofit and they know me. Say, hey, how you doing, Ms. Darby? Da-da-da. Sometimes they might just take it. I forgot my ID one time. They're like, we know you. And they still did this.
Do you know how large the check was?
I can't remember offhand, but it is in the report how much it was.
And the reason why I'm asking that is because you're right. Sometimes you can easily do that. And even you can probably, even just to be along her defense a little bit, she could have had several checks and didn't pay attention that was one of the checks and it went in, but that's why I asked how much it was. But but
the fact that she even got the check in her hand, let's
right,
say it was an accident, because it could have been an accident, it could have been on purpose. Right. I don't know.
Absolutely.
Right? But either way, the fact that she got the check is wrong. Staff should not allow that.
Okay. I agree.
It should be cut off.
Now, when you sent your email, because there were people who responded to some of the comments you made, and they were very happy to hear that you were not filtered, as one person put it. But once you sent that email, because they were very, well, let me go. I'm trying to say two things at one time. They were very happy that you were able to share some of the things that you shared, but they were angered that a person would make a comment. They can't fire me. That triggered a couple people. They were very, in fact, I know two people who responded to me saying, I just cannot believe that. And they were grateful that you were not filtered to the place where you were scared to say it. But when you sent your email, or whatever you sent, to say that it should not happen, what was the response to that?
Yeah, staff said they're going through the process and they are going to implement that, and they let us know. So currently right now, it's public that Councilmember Oliver can't spend any of her discretionary funds while it's under investigation. They're auditing all of City Council's discretionary funds. So mine too, everybody's is being audited right now. So it's like a process happening right now. And outside of that, I don't know any other updates or anything other than there's a process happening right now and they're revamping it. I know for county council that when I go and apply for funding through my county council person, there is an application. Right. Currently right now, if someone asks me for council funds, it just email me and then I forward it to my staff and my staff work with them. There's not like a formal application.
Which opens the door for deception.
Yeah, open. So I requested hey, maybe we should have something similar to county council. But what makes them even more is that they send all of their requests goes to the finance committee. That it's not a vote, but saying that this money is being dispersed and then the person gets the money. So that process might take a little bit longer. We do that for things over 10,000, or it's I don't remember what that threshold is, but we do that if someone is donating over, let's say $5,000, then it has to be a resolution that goes on the floor. But even for the smaller ones, I think something needs to happen where it's more publicly, there's more public, more transparent, and more accountability. And they're supposed to be coming up with a process. So I don't know exactly what it is, but I did give my recommendations that council people, no exception, should ever have checks.
What committee is handling this? Is it the administrative committee or is the staff?
Our staff is handling.
That is appointed by the council.
Yes, they are appointed by the council.
Okay, it's a lot of issues in there, and I don't want to spend our whole day dealing with that. But I hear you. We're grateful, and I want to let those who watch us know that I did give your accolades to Ms. Darby for being able to stand up to say, "Hey, look, by the way, even if you can't be fired, you still should have integrity. You should walk with integrity." Last for this segment, last week I had an opportunity to travel to Del State with my daughter.
Okay.
And we spend time together. I definitely am not a missing dad when it comes down to Ashley. But while we were there, it was just such a great feeling. I know you went to Temple, so you don't really know anything about that HBCU total experience. But sitting at Del State last on Wednesday night was just remarkable. They lost to University of Delaware, but I will tell you, whoever, I could not remember the freshman's name, the gentleman who is the point guard for Del State, they going somewhere.
Okay.
They going somewhere.
I love it.
They going somewhere. I mean, this young brother, I thought he broke his leg at one point because he couldn't get off the floor, and then he got back up. But he played, he hit threes at timely. They got back within 4, and everybody in the gym just went up because they thought they gonna win. But University of Delaware put a run back on them, and they end up winning 78-67, I believe it was. But I just wanted to let you know that I had an opportunity to go, and it feels so good to see all of the fraternities, sororities, the organizations, the band. It was just everything was it was a packed gym.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. So I know you have one child. What grade is your oldest in?
9th and 10th grade.
So have you started going out yet, looking at colleges?
Yeah, we have. So she's a dancer, so she does ballet modeling.
Oh, okay.
So she wants to go to those dance specific colleges like Juilliard and all the rest of them.
But
but on her list, I told her to do a research on the top HBCU for that type of dance she wants to do.
Okay, good.
And you want to know, it's Coppin State.
Coppin State and Hampton.
Well, they wasn't on the top 5 list. It was Howard. It was Howard, Coppin State.
Howard was up there too?
Yep, they were there. Spelman. Spelman was over there. She does not want to go to Spelman.
All right.
And it was 2 like in Alabama. She said, I'm not going to Alabama.
Okay.
But
Coppin was there.
Yeah, Coppin was there. So that is on our list of colleges in regards to, she does not go to a dance specific school. She knows her next is a HBCU.
Yeah, and but the reason why I said that is because just so she can have like in your case, you can do multiple things because you did go to a liberal arts college or university, and while just dance specific, unless she really going to commit her life to it, and she may.
She says she is.
Then she has to do
dance.
That's fine.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to. I encourage every person who are going to a 4-year college to just consider HBCUs. I'm not going to make my daughter do. My daughter's a straight A student.
I'm not making her either.
All of her time in school, and if she says no, I don't want to go, I'm gonna be a little disappointed. But I'm gonna let her do her. We already got 3 schools that we're looking at very strongly for Ashley, but I know that she's going to make that decision because she has to stay there.
Yeah.
She has to get it. Just like if she wants to go to, your daughter want to go to an art specific school, we have to give her that opportunity so she can be successful.
Yep, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But I'm like, at least put one HBCU on there.
But your Coppin State, that's really awesome. I mean, that is right in Baltimore. You can just jump in the car and get to it if you need to. And Coppin State is a good school too. So it is what it is. Well, I thank you so much. We're going to take a quick break and we're going to come right back.
Hi, I'm Nick Martin, Program Director for the Telehealth and Device Learning Initiative with the Delaware Libraries. This program started several years ago, actually, when I came on board as an AmeriCorps Vista with the Delaware Division of Libraries. And at that time, my focus was on emerging technology as a whole. This includes artificial intelligence, virtual reality, and as it relates to today, telehealth. But what I quickly realized was most of the needs came in terms of healthcare access. We have, as a library system, a strong partnership with the Department of Health and Social Services, and prior to COVID, we had social workers in almost all of our libraries. And my next step was to actually travel to almost all the public libraries in the state and talk with the managers about what telehealth could look like in our libraries. Little did I know that a few months after that roadshow, we would enter into a global pandemic that really highlighted the importance of quality healthcare and broadband access. What we realized next is we needed private spaces in the libraries, and since the libraries are so heavily used, including the study spaces, we needed standalone spots where patrons could frequent to access these basic health and human services. So that's how the telehealth kiosk came to be. As it stands today, the kiosks can hold 2 to 3 people inside, have HEPA filtration, UV sanitation, and are equipped with iPads and can access a variety of platforms, including Skype, FaceTime, Zoom, and several telehealth-specific platforms. In addition to the kiosks, we also hired staff that we're calling navigators, who are people to assist patrons in all parts of the kiosk process. And that includes scheduling, assistance with the technology inside, and also the follow-up and the case management of each patron's specific needs.
Hello, my name is Maria. I am a navigator at the Seaford Library. I am located next to the kiosk. We offer Chromebooks, MiFis, and services for social service. I help with scheduling appointments. You can walk into one of the 3 libraries, or you can go on the website, getconnected.delawarelibraries.org.
Tune in at 8 a.m. every Sunday for our worship services. Join us at 9 a.m. on YouTube and Facebook Live by typing Zion Fair Baptist Church. We are Wilmington's most exciting church.
And we're back. Well, Shané, what's going on with Shané Scoop this week?
Yes, I want to give an update on residency. So by the time this is aired, the vote would happen. I'm not sure how this vote is going to go, but where we are is that in the last committee meeting that we had, there were 2 legislations, right? There was one legislation by Councilmember Bracy where she wanted to expand and change the current residency law where it says that you can live anywhere within Newcastle County if you are a city employee, right? Currently on the books, there's legislation that states that you have to move within the city of Wilmington limits within 6 months. She wanted to expand that to the whole Newcastle County. I then had a countering legislation presented that said, we're gonna maintain it. We're gonna keep it within the city of Wilmington limits. And the compromise with Councilmember Johnson and the rest of them was that instead of giving people 6 months to move here, we'll give them a year. You know, housing costs, interest rates are high, rent is crazy. It's okay, we'll give them some time to get here, right? The other compromise was that there would be a residency task force. So the residency task force would look at some of the issues presented for city employees to be attracted to work for the city, and then for people who are outside of the city to come here, right? To have that conversation and come up with recommendations and present to City Council on what we should do to address some of the issues that people are saying from moving out of the city, from moving from out of the city into the city, and then already for people who live here to be attracted to work here, right? Gotcha. So it's like a 2-pronged issue. And the residency task force will handle that and give us recommendations. I think by June of 2024, they will have to present the information. In the meantime, we will put $50K into a relocation fund. So the relocation fund does a few things. So let's say I live in Middletown, I get hired at a job. I need help with my security deposit. You can tap into the relocation fund.
Okay.
I need help with a moving van. Tap into the relocation fund. I want to buy a house in Wilmington. Currently, right now, the city of Wilmington has a down payment assistance for employees from day one when you become an employee.
Okay.
All right, so I think it's like $3,000-$4,000. Okay. The relocation fund will add to that amount.
Oh wow. Okay.
Right. So we have the relocation fund, the residency task force. We extended it 1 year from them to live here, but we are not changing or compromising on the boundary lines of the city of Wilmington.
And why do you feel that you don't know how that's going to turn out? Is there some? I heard you said Bracy, Councilwoman Bracy has changed it to Newcastle County. Let's start with Chris Johnson. You compromise with him and say, okay, let's go a year. Is he with this legislation now?
As of today, he told me yes. But he's flip-floppy, meaning he would tell me yes and then come back and say, no, can you add a 5-mile radius? No. And then come back, oh, can we add a 3-mile radius? Like, no. So like on the floor, he would say he supports it. And then in the back end, compromising to change the boundary lines. Like what I'm willing to compromise is on everything else. But we can't change the boundary lines because that means there's no residency, and I want development. I want people to be attracted to live in the city. I want to invest in local people to work for the city. Like that is my focus. How do we keep it within City of Wilmington limits, and then we can negotiate everything else.
There's other things like getting here. Let me ask you this question: City Council, will they be affected? So that means if I don't live in a district, and I'm not running for at large, will I be able to run? Let's say if I live in the east side and I want to run in the 3rd, 5th district, can I do that?
No, this doesn't affect anyone who's elected.
Why?
Because you should live in the
I like your language. So if those who are elected by the people should live in the city that they are elected, or even the section of the city they're elected by, why shouldn't those who work for the city live here?
I don't know. The arguments don't make sense to me on the other side.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying. I'm trying to make sure that those who are watching us today will understand the argument. Whether you agree or disagree with this, I think it was Velda Potter who shared that there was a whole lot of jobs they were saying that were not filled, but a lot of them were not even posted. Yeah,
so the numbers probably changed, but let's say at one point in time there were 110 vacancies. So they'll send us a vacancy report. But when you go online, only about like 20 of them were actually posted online, right?
So how do you expect to fill them?
Fill them if you don't post them, right? So one thing that the city does, they invest in a campaign called It's Time Wilmington. They the mayor administration put $200,000 into this campaign. This campaign is focused on getting people to live, work, and play here, right? But you're not going to see It's Time Wilmington campaigns in my neighborhood. You're not going to see it in South Bridge. You're not going to see it in East Side. The plan is to get people on the outside to move into the riverfront and downtown area, right? That's It's Time Wilmington. So you can make that $200K investment for outsiders. And nothing's wrong with outsiders, but just in terms of that, to invest in people who are not City of Wilmingtonians, who are not Wilmingtonians, to come into the city, but you can't take $50K into a relocation fund to help people be City of Wilmington residents or to help current residents.
We have a lot of vacancies.
We have
it may be high end, but the point is that's an issue that they have to deal with. If you really want to see people move into the city in quote unquote nice neighborhoods, if that's
whatever
the way they label or whatever that means,
then
you have to make sure that you make the rent affordable. You have to make sure the salaries are compatible, so that people will be attracted to it. You made a comment about you got to play, eat, and do something here in Wilmington, but it's not in certain neighborhoods.
It's not in certain neighborhoods.
So I don't understand, what is the ultimate goal? I think I'm trying to figure out what this is.
I don't know the mayor's true intentions for pushing this. And one thing I got to say about him, I don't agree with what he does. But one thing about Mayor Mike Purzycki, everything he does is strategic, right? Listen, these folks are strategic. They plan, they map out, they do it. He was a Republican. Let's start from the beginning. He was a Republican who changed to a Democrat and had Republican parties to change people to Democrats so he can win. That is not illegal, but it's smart. Can't deny that. So he does not focus on things that don't matter to him for the bigger picture. I don't know what the bigger picture is. We can only assume. And the same day he makes an announcement, he also says there's no residency. Then in that same day, John Carney, our governor, announces that he's interested in running for mayor, which we know that he is now because he filed a committee to raise money. Carney for Wilmington. He is running for office, right? So we know all of those things happen in the same day. Do you think that was by accident?
I don't think so.
No, it's not. It's very strategic, and people see it. So they think they can play a lot of games with people, but the community sees it. Every time I mention that our governor is going to run for mayor, I don't even got to know the person. They look at me confused. You mean the governor is going to run for the mayor for a city? I'm like, yes. I said, that's how I feel too. Like they are confused that is happening. But then you see how struggle they are in even identifying candidates within our city who fit into his platform to run. They're so desperate that they went with the governor to run for the mayor of the city of Wilmington. And that goes to show how strong the city of Wilmington is, that they need to keep control over it.
Yeah, and that's really interesting because as I'm listening to you, you said strategic, and you said that word several times. I don't know. I don't want anybody to think that I have any data, but if a lot of the people who made, let's say if the governor wins the election, then all those people who may be a part of his crew may not be in the city of Wilmington, and they would have to live here.
Correct.
So if we get rid of it now, we don't have to worry about that.
Correct.
That's interesting.
Yep, that is the assumption.
Something to think about.
That is the assumption.
Okay.
We don't know, but we all know that Governor Carney, most of his people live in Newcastle County, right?
Oh.
We know that. So we can only assume, make assumptions.
Wow.
We don't know what the true intention is behind it, but we know it has nothing to do with vacancies.
Wow. This is interesting. This is really interesting. And then you have Shané saying how strategic the mayor is. And I'm like, okay, let me see if I can punch some holes in it. But then it just adds to something else that could be the possibility of it being true.
He's strategic. I heard he served on the Riverfront Development Corporation for decades, right?
Yeah.
Helping to come up with this plan. Has been in plan since the 90s, I think. And they could develop a committee, and they've been planning, and they needed somebody in office to run for mayor to fully finish implementing that. And they selected him because it's a voluntold thing. They tell people who's going to be up to be in the position. So that's what they did, and he got in that position to do it. And what has his focus been on? Riverfront and downtown. It's strategic.
Wow.
And is it illegal? Is anything wrong with it? No, we need to learn how to be strategic.
Amen. Instead of fighting over the chicken sandwiches, we do need to become much more strategic and focused on what we're doing. I think we are going to become. So we're hearing you. So this residency thing is to come.
Yeah, it's to come. So
I can't wait to
see.
hear the vote next week.
We'll see what happens. But the main thing, let's say it gets out of committee. Let's say by the time this happens, it's it gets voted into law. What happens is the mayor can veto it. And I'm getting word that he is going to veto the legislation. So he is going to say, nope, don't want it. For city council to counter that, you need nine people. Yeah. I don't have 9.
Yeah.
But either way, a win is a win because they didn't change it.
Right, because you can't change it.
They didn't change it.
Right.
We're going to have to start all the way from scratch. Someone is going to have to introduce another piece of legislation that's going to change it.
You just reintroduce yours again.
I'll just reintroduce mine again.
But the good thing about it is time is not on his side. It's on your side. So it's understandable. Okay, what else you got for us?
So I wanted to give an update, some really important things. We know that in 2022, Roe versus Wade was overturned. So Roe versus Wade back in 1973 was put into federal law that women had a right to abortion, right? So we know that was the case, but we know it was overturned in 2022. So a lot of states where politicians who don't agree with it had either trigger laws or created laws to ban it basically completely. Right. And Ohio was one of them. So Ohio is considered a red state. But what Ohio, what makes it really interesting is that they put on their ballot. So they had an election, but on there, they get to vote on issues. Right. So one of the issues was like legalizing marijuana. Another one was, should abortion be protected? People came out and voted. Of course, the marijuana one passed. So marijuana is legal. But the other one is, should abortion rights be a constitutional protection? The majority of people came out and said yes. So they had over 50% who said, yes, it should be protected. So they became the 7th state where voters decided to protect abortion assets after the landmark ruling of overturning on a federal level protection and giving it to the states to make their decision. So I was like excited to hear that, but there has been the Republican Party. My thing is believe what you want, what you would do personally. There's a lot of things that I wouldn't do personally, but I'm not going to use my political power to make you believe what I believe or to live how I would live, right? at one point in time, like, I'm open about it. I'm not getting a vaccination. I'm just not, right? But am I going to write a legislation and say nobody can't get it?
Right. I see what you're
right? What I want is people to be able to have open access to make whatever decision you want. If your decision is, yes, I want that shot, I want to make sure you can afford it. There's places for you to go. And if you say no, I also think that you are protected too. Both you should be able to make whatever decision you want about your body and your family, right? And I'm, as a legislator, for me is not to put my personal onto it. It's to say, how can people have choices? And how do I make sure any choice they make, it's open, there's no barriers to it, right? So the Republicans, they're completely against it. So now they're trying to find ways to create barriers after the people came out and said, we want this protection, to try to stop it. And then prior to the vote, they try to have a vote that says that for issue voting, they had to have at least 60% or higher who voted yes on that, right? So they tried to change it and it failed, right? So that goes to show, like, for me, politics shouldn't be a super personal thing based on what you think your religion is or your philosophical views. And I think also it's important too, because we all come from different identities and backgrounds, and that does impact how we legislate, right? You can't deny that, but you have to be aware of it. And you have to also understand that this is about protecting people and making sure they have access. That's all I think of. I might not agree, but my thing is, they want to do it. Is it like hurting me?
But as you're talking, and for those of you who are seasoned and you're in the church world, really what she's saying is the same method Jesus used. Jesus said, "Whosoever will." The offering is there. The person can take this or take this. That's their decision. And what you're simply saying is, you have your own personal no's and yeses.
Yeah, I do.
But you don't impose them on others, meaning I'm going to block your life, I'm going to stop your life, I'm going to deter your life because you don't agree with my philosophy. So I understand. And this is why all these red states are voting, yes, let it be protected. Yeah, not that they say I'm going out to have an abortion, not that they're saying I want to smoke marijuana. It's people's right to do. We live in a democracy.
Yeah.
Now, if people want to go to China where there is a dictatorship, then they can go there and the dictator will say no, and you got to live by it. But in a democracy, which is one of my struggles, because I'm gonna be very honest with you, I struggle with some of the processes in democracy, because you get to people have rights who should not have rights. But that's my personal philosophy. But I cannot kill you because your philosophy differs from mine.
Correct.
But that's the great thing about living in a democracy. So people don't understand that. And I thank you for really kind of clarifying it today.
Yeah, sure. So that's all I have from my scoop today. Residency, Ohio State. Shout out to the people. Because one thing about that, though, is like people voices need to be heard, and then we have to listen to them. So let's say we had a referendum vote on residency and people came out and said expanded to Newcastle County. I'm going to be like, the people spoke. I'm not fighting that.
Right.
And I don't agree with it.
You're right. You will,
I don't agree
but you know
with
what,
it.
it adds to something else too. It also speaks to the fact that you are a educated person, because educated people understand that it's not always about your opinion only. If the majority says this is what we're going to do, we're going to do it. We're going to move on. I'm not happy about it, but we're going to move on.
Yeah, I want to be happy.
And I think, that makes you a scholar. And I think all too often we get so personal about stuff. And people say things to me like, Pastor Curry, why would you even let this happen on your show? Look, people have a right to voice their opinion. They have a right to share what they need to share. I have a right to my views. But you notice I don't put my views on people where you better believe this one way, or we have a different type of show.
Yeah.
On Sundays at 8:00 a.m., if you want to hear a good sermon, tune in. But during the week, during the evening time, we're doing the source, and we're doing the coffee with Curry. Totally different zone. Yeah, it's making sure that people get a chance to see, the public get a chance to see what we consider as facts, as well as when I'm doing my coffee with Curry. So very good, very good. So we got an opportunity to hear about the residency and kind of tied into this abortion, which I did not think it was going to pass. I'm gonna be honest with you.
I didn't think it was either, because it's a red state.
Yeah, but it did.
But the people spoke.
Yeah, and they spoke because you don't get to tell other people or dictate to other people what they do. That's the whole message that's underlined in it. We're going to take a quick commercial break and we'll be right back.
After I lost my mom, I was depressed and resentful. I couldn't find my way, but I am not lost.
I should know. I work in behavioral health for youth advocate programs. YAP. I empower Blessing with tools so she can see her strengths and set positive goals.
As a little kid, I experienced trauma and I acted out. Made some mistakes, but I'm not a mistake.
No, she's a good student and a great kid. As Jalen's YAP advocate, I'm always here for her.
We need YAP. The youth and the communities, they need strong support systems. I try to help the youth understand if you have a change of mindset, you can have a change of action.
YAP gives communities alternatives to residential care, youth incarceration, and neighborhood violence. After completing our program, nearly 90% of participants remain in their community. YAP works.
And now I'm finding joy and excited about my future.
Youth advocate programs. Others talk social change. We make it happen.
For over 20 years, we've helped kids write their growth stories. Now it's time for us to write our own. This year, we took a page from our own yardage book. We spoke with some of the people who make up First Tee, and we asked questions to dig deeper. The stories we uncovered showed us clearly who we are and why we matter. We build experiences that build character, because this is what you carry with you to everything you do. And we believe all kids deserve to feel excited to grow, safe to try something new, and better equipped for whatever comes at them next. We do this by helping them develop their swing, but more importantly, their inner strength, with coaches who help them navigate the course, but more importantly, mentors who guide them through new challenges. We are opening access to the game, but more importantly, access to guided personal growth, because we know what's inside doesn't just count, it changes the game. Each of our stories have created impact. Combined, they've brought First Tee to where we are today. Let's write this next chapter together.
Slow down.
Slow down and move over.
And move over. When you see lights,
Vests. Or reflectors.
please give us some room. Slow down and move over. When you need us,
We've got your back.
do you have ours?
You got our back?
You got ours? You got our back? Please, slow down.
And move over.
Join us at 9 a.m. on Facebook Live every Sunday by typing E-Zion Fair Baptist Church.
Jesus felt what you're feeling, but he did not sin. Am I in the word? Have one who has been tempted in every way, just as we are, yet he did not sin.
We are Wilmington's most exciting church.
Good evening. This is Dr. Curry. We have something new I'm trying this week. It's called Curry's Commentary. Every week that I'm available and able to do so, I want to just give you my view on whatever topics that may come up. This week, we prepare our hearts, we prepare our minds for Thanksgiving. All too often, we've used Thanksgiving as a time to celebrate pilgrims. We've used it to celebrate certain things, who has the best turkey, and things of that nature. But I want to really refocus ourselves to think about Thanksgiving as a time of giving gratitude to our God. God has been faithful to us. I've said to our church many times that God has been more faithful to us than we have been to ourselves. When we found ourselves in harm's way, when we found ourselves hurting, it was God who stuck by us and continued to call our name. So during this Thanksgiving season, this season of reflection, this season of taking time to look back over your life, especially for the year that we've just come through, let's first thank God. Let's give him glory. Let's give him honor, and let's give him praise, because he is the one who have blessed us. He is the one who have healed us. He is the one who have set us free. If you cannot give thanks to anything or anybody else, let this be your moment to give thanks to our God. Our God cares for us intimately and compassionately. He cares for us so much that he wrapped himself in flesh. He came to this world, lived among us, and then he died for us. On the third day morning, he got up with all power in his hand. I'm grateful for that. And if I had nothing else to be grateful for, I'm grateful for the God of my wearied years and the God of my silent tears, the one who has brought us thus far along the way. Then I also add to my list of gratitude, my family. I don't know of a better family than the family God blessed me in. My mom, my dad, while they were not married, they provided for me. They allowed me to grow, to make mistakes. They sent me off to school. I'm grateful for them. I'm grateful for my brother and sister rather, how God has granted me the greatest support network. Then he blessed me with my wife, who is considered to be my right arm, and my daughter, who considers to be my heart and my conscience. God has been faithful. I thank God for God, and I thank God for family. When the world seems heavy, I can depend on family. When the world seems like it's about to give in and give out and fall apart and give in, I can depend on family. And that's why I take a moment as we're preparing to celebrate Thanksgiving to say thank you to my family. I also want to say thank you to Wilmington's most exciting church, better known as the Zion Fair Baptist Church. That's a family within itself. For the past 19 years now, I've been pastoring this branch of Zion. Sometimes up, sometimes down, but the confidence that God has given to us and the vision that he has bestowed upon us to give to this group of baptized believers has been unmeasurable. And they have been a good people. Some have come, some have gone, but overall, God's faithfulness have rested upon us. And I'm grateful to the Zion Fair family. You just don't know unless you're a part of this branch of Zion, the joys that we have. We celebrate each other. We find needs and we meet them. We find hurts and we heal them. We find problems and we solve them. Why? Because God's favor is here. So to the Zion Fair family, thank you. I want to say thank you to those of you who watches us every week. Whether you're watching the 8 a.m. broadcast time of worship and praise, I want to say thank you. Whether you're watching the Coffee with Curry, where we bring on our guests, thank you. And if you watch The Source, thank you. Pastor, why are you thanking all the people? Because all too often we take for granted the treasures that God has given us. You could look at other shows, you can turn the dial, but you choose to watch us. All of you, I'm grateful and I'm thanking God for you. I don't want to end by saying I want to thank God even for our friends. We have several friends and we're grateful to God that he's blessed me with an army of people who care about me. And I say thank you to all the friends, not just of Pastor Curry, but of the Zion Fair and to the Curry family. Thank you for being the friends who won't go along just to get along, who don't use our platform for your best judgment, your better gifts to make sure that you can get what you need and then leave us astray. To the friends of the Zion Fair Church as well as Pastor Curry, thank you. thank you, and thank you. I also want to say thank you to the enemies, because we often believe that our enemies are just demons. But did you not know that it is your enemies that make you better? I want to thank God for the people who just cannot stand Pastor Curry or the Zion Fair Church. It's all right, because it's what makes us better. Thank you. It is your contentment that, or I should say contentment rather, that really probably causes us to be stronger. Thank you. This season, to all of you who are watching us today, I want you to take the time to call someone. Tell them thank you. You may not have agreed with everything the person who you're thanking, but thank you, because them coming in your life have made you a better person. If you don't have a turkey to cook this week, if you don't have yams to put in the oven, stuffing to put in the turkey, you can say thank you. You can pick up your phone and just say thank you to people who have impacted your life. You can pick up the phone and say, hello, I had you on my mind. To say thank you doesn't cost much, but it goes far. I'm grateful to God for all of you. I take this moment during this curry time to just simply say thank you, and thank you. Until the next time, God bless.
The drive to move forward. For some people, it's a part of who they are, and it's who we are too. For 130 years, Strayer University has been at the forefront of change, with programs that help students get and stay ahead, so you can keep striving.
Poverty can often act as a barrier, preventing individuals, families, and communities from reaching their full potential. In communities facing persistent poverty and high unemployment rates, the Community Economic Development Program, or CED, invests in local businesses and helps create and expand job opportunities. CED grants provide long-term solutions to poverty by ensuring that 75% of all the jobs created with CED funds are filled by individuals with low incomes and that employees are connected to critical support services. All jobs created with CED funds are intended to be high-quality positions that provide living wages, paid leave, fringe benefits, and opportunities for career growth to truly help individuals achieve economic self-sufficiency. CED projects provide startup capital, loans, equity investments, and funding for construction for a variety of industries, including restaurants and commercial kitchens, manufacturing businesses, distribution centers, grocery stores, child care and home care businesses, and agricultural and environmental initiatives. Every year, CED funds are used to create and expand hundreds of local businesses and employ thousands of individuals across the country. And for every $1 of CED funding that is used on a project, more than $6 from other sources is invested back into low-income communities. To learn more about CED, visit www.acf.hhs.gov/OCS/help.
And we're back. Well, Shané, this has been a very good show. I did want to say we didn't have our counterpart here today. He's out saving the world, as I say, when you're not here.
Right.
But it was a good show, and I thank you for really sticking up for the little people, the people who are voiceless, and giving them the power that they really need as it relates to this whole residency piece, because that's very important. So I really appreciate that today. Is there anything else left on your corner or anything you want to share for today?
No, just everyone enjoy. I know the Thanksgiving is coming up. Enjoy family.
Yeah.
Gratitude, all that good stuff.
All
That's
right.
all I got.
Well, I ask that you do the exact same thing. And on behalf of Brother Kobe, who's not here, I want to say, see ya.
And talk soon.